Just yesterday, Maria Corina Machado was the main symbol of resistance to the socialist regime and the great hope of Washington. Before Maduro's arrest, she was helped to escape the country. It was an operation worthy of a Hollywood movie. But today, she finds herself at the center of a massive international scandal. Many experts now say she made one fatal miscalculation that turned her victory into exile. Who is Maria Machado really? How did her life of luxury turn into a nightmare? How exactly did she manage to leave the country and avoid prison? And the question everyone is asking, why did she allegedly offer her Nobel Prize to Donald Trump, sparking outrage among human rights activists worldwide? Watch this video to the end to learn the story of betrayal and the collapse of illusions. Let's begin. In Venezuela, some call her the Iron Lady. But she wasn't born a warrior. She comes from Venezuela's old elite. Her family owned the steel empire Civenza until it was seized and nationalized by Hugo Chávez. She had an elite education, perfect English, and a life far removed from poverty. But at what point did she decide to trade comfort for war? That moment came in 2002. That year, she founded the organization Sumite to collect millions of signatures for a referendum against Hugo Chávez. She was the first to try to defeat a dictator not with weapons, but with the law. From that moment on, she became the regime's #1 enemy. Unlike many opposition figures who left for Miami or Madrid, Machado stayed, and she paid a terrible price for that decision. Her marriage could not survive the pressure, constant threats, surveillance, and court cases. Her husband wanted a quiet life for the family, but Maria chose to save the country. In the end, the family fell apart, and today she is a lone warrior. Her 3 children live abroad for safety, and she sees them only through a phone screen. In 2012, Maria Corina made a move that would go down in history. In the National Assembly, she stood up and told Chávez to his face that the seizure of private property is theft. The dictator, unaccustomed to such defiance, replied with a phrase that became famous: "An eagle does not hunt flies." But he was wrong. Years later, that very fly would become the only threat capable of bringing millions of people into the streets. Politics in Venezuela is not about debates in suits, it is about blood. During a violent clash in parliament, Maria Corina's nose was broken. Photos of her injured face and unbreakable stare spread across the world. At that moment, she stopped being just a politician and became a symbol. The regime understood that intimidation would not work, so it decided to destroy her life instead. She was banned from holding public office for 15 years on fabricated charges, and her bank accounts were frozen. At times, the repression became absurd. Authorities shut down roadside cafes where she simply stopped to eat. One day, Maria Corina bought pastries at a small roadside diner. Right after she left, tax officials arrived and sealed the place. Why? Simply because they had fed an opposition figure. But the effect was the opposite. The whole country learned about that cafe. People began raising money to support it, and Maria Corina showed something important. The regime feared not only her, but even the pastries in her hands. But at what point did she make the move that cost her everything? And why did authorities seek to jail her in one of Venezuela's most notorious prisons? First, she was banned from leaving the country and even from flying on domestic airlines. A move meant to make her campaign collapse. Instead, Maria Corina switched to motorcycles and jeeps. She traveled through jungles, crossed military checkpoints, and reached the most remote corners of the country, places no opposition figure had visited in years. Her slogan, "Hasta el final," until the very end, became a mantra for millions. A woman from the elite embraced the poor, cried with mothers whose children had fled hunger, and became a true national heroine. The regime tried everything to eliminate Machado, but Maria Corina made a brilliant move. She brought a quiet diplomat, Edmundo González, onto the stage, raised his hand, and told the people, "Vote for him." and the country listened. It was a landslide. Independent records showed that Edmundo won nearly 70% of the vote, even though the authorities declared Maduro the winner. The world recognized the triumph of González and Machado. But having votes does not mean having power. While the people celebrated her victory, the regime began hunting her. But how did she manage to survive, and even vanish from the country when a reward was offered for information about her whereabouts? After Edmundo González, with her backing, crushed Maduro at the polls, the regime moved to direct threats. The Attorney General's office issued an arrest warrant for her. The most serious charges were filed against her. She faced prison time and transfer to one of the country's most notorious prisons. Maria Corina disappeared. For the past year, she lived like a ghost. She moved between safe houses and avoided using phones. The paradox of that moment was striking. The woman the entire country had voted for was surviving underground, while the defeated dictator continued to sit in the palace. In December 2025, the situation became unbearable. She was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize, but many immediately called it pure politics rather than a real achievement. The Norwegian Nobel Committee refused to hold the traditional torchlight procession in honor of the winner. And Nobel laureate Adolfo Pérez Esquivel publicly accused her of calling for American aggression instead of dialogue. While Maria was hiding inside her own country, the award was received on her behalf by her daughter, who could barely hold back tears while reading her mother's letter. 2 weeks later, Machado decided to flee. It was a special operation worthy of a Hollywood movie. At night, during a storm, she made her way toward the island of Curaçao on a small fishing boat, where members of an American rescue team were waiting for her. Waves reached 10 feet. The boat was thrown so violently that Maria Corina suffered a serious back injury. But why did she flee at that exact moment? Because she knew what was being kept from everyone else. The United States was preparing to detain Maduro. And indeed, Trump's promise was fulfilled. The dictator ended up in an American prison. It seemed the path was clear. Maria Corina should have returned as a victor. Instead, in Washington, she was told the plan had changed. Trump needed someone who could keep the military and the oil industry under control. And that clearly was not her. While Maduro was being flown to the United States in handcuffs, the White House had already placed its bet on Delcy Rodriguez. But there were also rumors of a personal reason behind Trump's change of heart. According to these reports, he was far from pleased when the Nobel Committee honored Machado instead of him. He believed he deserved the prize for pressuring Maduro. To him, Maria Corina became a rival who had stolen his moment of glory. So what do you do when your main ally turns away from you? Maria Corina chose a step many would call madness. She decided to make the ultimate deal. Was it worth it? The world saw images that many still struggle to explain. While Delcy Rodriguez took the presidential office in Caracas, Maria Corina stood in the Oval Office and handed her Nobel Prize to Donald Trump. Why did she do it? Public opinion was divided. Some called it betrayal. They said the prize belonged to the people of Venezuela, and giving it to the president of another country meant betraying the memory of those who fought. Others argued she had no choice. She sacrificed her award. And this gesture was not a gift, but a final attempt to get Trump's attention. A cry that Venezuela must not be handed over to the Rodriguez clan. The story of Maria Corina Machado is the tragedy of a winner. She won the election, received the Nobel Prize, and even saw the dictator arrested. But instead of triumph, she ended up in exile. Her figure is deeply controversial, and this story leaves mixed feelings. It is hard to know whether to pity her as someone who lost her country or to condemn her for cynical games with a medal. The battle for Venezuela is clearly not over. Maduro is awaiting trial in an American prison. In Caracas, his ally Delcy Rodriguez is in power, and Maria Corina remains in Washington, without a medal, but with one last hope of turning the game around. Looking back, her fatal mistake seems clear. She believed that playing by the rules of democracy was enough. She trusted that Washington valued votes more than oil. But in the brutal game of realpolitik, being right is not enough to win. Who is she to you? A national heroine betrayed by her allies, or a calculating politician willing to do anything for power? Share your opinion in the comments. And if you believe freedom is worth fighting for, hit that like button. See you next time.